Next up, we have my very good friend Julia Lynn. She is 13 years old, going into 8th grade at Sharon Middle School. She likes music and art. She plays the piano and spends as much of her time drawing as she can. She also feels that she has improved in many aspects of public speaking, and I'd like to thank that to our awesome teacher. Welcome, Julia Lynn.
Hello everyone, I'm Julia Lynn. I would like to thank Allison for a wonderful speech and for introducing me. As she said, I spent as much of my time as possible drawing. My mom, she knows this. I love piano. I spend as much time on it as I can too. But every weekend and every day in the summer, I always retire down to the basement where I have all my art supplies and all the paper and everything. And my mom isn't particularly happy because she likes me to spend time upstairs. So let me tell you a little bit about art. It's a very big part of my life. And today I'll be just talking about the 3 different types of art that I usually do. They are sketching, drawing, and painting. Let's start with sketching. Sketching, as everyone should know, is black and white and with graphite pencils. I usually do sketching whenever I can. It is the most frequent type of art that I use because I have pencils everywhere in the house, every single corner that I can find, and as long as I have a piece of paper and a pencil, I can sketch as much as I want to my heart's content. Let me tell you a bit about it. So sketching, most people might think it's pencil, paper. It must be boring, right? Well, no. Like many other things, mastering sketching is actually quite hard. In drawing and art, you have to pay attention to the tiniest of details, especially in sketching, because in sketching your main goal is to get as close as possible to the actual realistic image. So every single little detail counts, and it's very tedious. Let's consider the pros and cons of sketching. Well, sketching, pencils, yay. But those pencils, the sketching pencils, have no eraser on the other end. And me, as a very lazy person, I don't like that. So you might think, oh, she just has to pick up a pencil, and then if she makes a mistake, with the other hand, eraser, and then she can just go back and redo her mistake, right? Well, for a detailed drawing, if you do that a couple thousand of times, you won't be thinking that, I promise you. Sketching is a very fun type of art, and I like it a lot, to be honest. I think it's my favorite out of the 3. Let's keep going with the cons of sketching. Everyone's used those composition notebooks where they have really bad paper and it's thin and it peels off really easily, right?
Yeah.
Well, you've probably experienced that after you write in it and you go back and erase it, the paper kind of loses its quality as you go on. It's kind of the same in sketching. I don't use very high quality paper, so whenever I go back and erase, the pigment doesn't apply as well on the second time. So that's a bad thing. But as I mentioned, let's go to the pros. Sketching is very convenient because you can literally do it everywhere. In math class, maybe I'm a little bit bored and I use the pencil and go and draw a little bad portrait of my math teacher and maybe add a few whiskers and moles because maybe I don't like him too much. I'm not saying that, but maybe. And so that's why I like it so much, because it's convenient. Let's go on to drawing. Drawing, who knows the difference between sketching and drawing? Anyone? Yes?
Drawing is like you just go and do it, and sketching is like do it slowly.
Not necessarily. Anyone else? Yes?
Drawing is with colors and sketching is normal one.
Yes, that is the main point. So sketching is without color and drawing is with color. So I was very, very happy when my parents bought me, they finally agreed to buy me that gigantic kit of colored pencils. And so I've been using them as much as I can. Let me tell you this, sketching, you can just go with the details and be like, yay, I'm finished, it's good. And it often looks good too. But with colored pencil, it's very hard to get the same texture and very hard to consider the color because it's complicated. Color is very complicated. Let's see, for example, a cube maybe, a red cube. If you're shining some light on one side, I don't know why you would do this, but let's say you're shining a light on one side, and it's bright red, right? So for that side with the light shining on it, you can just go with the bright red and color it. But then, what about the other sides? Do you go with that same bright red and then just add black? Well, no. For sketching and drawing, the goal is practically the same if you're, well, that's the type of art I do. But in drawing, you have to consider the color. In drawing, it's more color, and in sketching, it's more detail. Though detail is obviously important in drawing as well. So if you don't have a good grasp of color, that pretty flower that you wanted to come out the way you wanted to might not. I've had personal experiences, and it didn't turn out well. Let's just say that and leave it at that. Let us go on to painting. Now, sketching and drawing, you might be thinking, they're very similar, right? Pencils, yay! Drawing, yay! Detail, ta-da! But with painting, you have the different types of brushes. Everyone's used a brush at some point in their life, right? Right? Okay, so for brushes, you have the really round ones, and then you have the triangular cut ones, then you have really pointy ones that you might have accidentally stabbed someone's eye out with. And so there are so many types that I could stand here and list them and go on forever, but you probably don't want me to do that, right? So you might be asking, why can't I just use a tiny brush and do everything? Well, those brushes are used for many different types of things. So you literally have to memorize. It's kind of like some subject you take in school and the formula you have to use for something. So you have to memorize everything basically in order to use them in the right place, or else that drawing might not turn out well either. And painting, because if you didn't know yet, I am a socially awkward person with literally no friends. And so I have no confidence basically. In painting, I find it very hard to go with a complete stroke and try to do whatever I need to do. So painting also requires confidence, unlike sketching and drawing, where you can go a little bit at a time. Today I talked about art and the three types of art that I do. I talked about sketching, drawing, and painting. I hope that you have learned a little bit, or at least as much as you can, throughout my speech for today. Thank you for listening.